Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kinda hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending now. Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternate Ending. We're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm film school dropout Rob Jarasinski. Across from me is our casual moviegoer, Carrie Jarasinski. And joining us via Zoom, our very own critic in residence, Tim Brayton. And with today's episode, we're going to be doing a Patreon selection. A good one. Oftentimes we are asked, like, what's your list of shame? Usually I think of that more in a sexual nature. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, people who I, you know, aspired to date. But haven't.
Wait, what's happening?
No, that's not. That's not what people talk about.
You swerved and then you swerved again, and I'm just lost in the swerves at this point.
Too.
No, but these are going to be movies brought to us by Patreon Andrew Milne. Movies where we are ashamed to not have seen, and you know, we've provided, I think, a very safe place for all of us to be able to expose ourselves and be vulnerable. So I
am going to hoot and jeer at the both of you like a howler monkey every time you name a film that I think is good. Just be ready for that.
You know, that's funny. I was very insecure, and this is kind of the thing about safe spaces is, like, you know, we all get together, we pull up.
I'm saying this is not a safe space.
It's not a space.
Intensely hostile space.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so you know, you've pulled your pants down, you're exposed. You know, everybody's looking around, and I'm looking around. I'm looking around at the audience lists here, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm not.
What I'm saying is you don't have to compete with the audience. You have to compete with me.
Oh, okay.
And I've seen every movie.
All right.
So I don't actually have a list because I've seen everything. So my list is just like, I'm ashamed that I have no new movies to watch ever.
All right. How are you feeling, Carol?
I guess like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is my shame because I haven't gotten to it yet, even though it's
that's just appalling. That's real appalling.
I feel like I've named some movies, Tim, where I'm a bit surprised.
He hasn't seen Now and Then.
Okay.
He hasn't seen Stand By Me.
Even my kids have seen Now and Then.
I've seen Stand By Me.
I know. Oh yeah, I guess you have. But
I feel like there's an 80s to 90s.
You haven't seen Casper. You haven't seen Casper.
I've seen Casper. I talked about Casper with you on a podcast.
All right.
Posted on our website.
There's like a period of 2 decades between the 80s, the 80s, the 90s, and I think early 2000s, where I feel like there's maybe some missed opportunity. So I feel like this is going to be very heavy on your side towards my my key strengths. So I will also be judging you. How's that?
Okay. I think you're going to be surprised by my list.
And I'm going to be judging you too.
All right.
My list is all the movies you guys like.
Well, because there's a Wisconsin Film Festival going on here in Madison. There are movies that are coming out just now that can't be on this list because they're not officially out yet. So, Tim, you've been as an alum and faculty member there. That's been keeping you pretty busy.
Well, technically not an alum. I am still a student here. I'm still part of the community of graduate students. But I'm doing the film festival. In my capacity as a faculty TA, I have been accompanying students to various screenings and like introducing them to filmmakers for Q&As. And we get these little private like events where the film production students get to talk to actual filmmakers. And it's all very cool for them and all very work for me. But that's actually where I'm on my way from. So I don't know if you can all hear out there that the audio quality is probably slightly different than usual. I'm currently sitting in my office on campus in a windowless concrete bunker, and I'm feeling very just pressed in by the walls. Typically, when we're recording an episode, I have my cats wandering in and meowing at me, and it's all very fun and comfy. And now I just feel very like, I feel like I'm at work, and it's just not, my vibe isn't where I want it to be. So I'm going to work on getting my vibe where I need it to be for you guys. But no, I am seeing a lot of movies at the film festival. So far, none of them have shown up on the site as reviews, but I'm gonna do 3 or 4 of the ones I liked the best. There's a particular film that I'm very excited to share with the world. I don't think it has a U.S. distributor yet, called Il Buco, which is an Italian movie about caving. So keep an eye out for that review.
Is that like a sexual
very, very
thing? Is that I'm not familiar with? Caving? Is that
caving means to go through a cave and explore what is inside the cave.
Like the
so still
definition.
it's unclear to me what you're talking about.
It's penetrating deep into a hole that no one has ever penetrated into.
Wait, what?
And seeing whether you find terrible creatures.
How is caving different than spelunking?
It's identical to spelunking. I just used the word caving because I didn't want Carrie to yell at me for using the word spelunking.
Okay.
See, this is careful consideration, and I appreciate that. This movie seems like a movie that's been done before, where there's aliens down there.
Well,
and they all
it's
eat
actually
you.
not a horror film. I was at dinner last night with some normal people, and one of them asked what I'd seen that I liked, and I was like, "Oh, I saw this really great Italian movie. It's about going into a cave, and there's no dialogue in the entire movie." And this guy said, "Are you being facetious right now?" I was like, no, it's, and my partner even said like, no, he's not being facetious because he knows what kind of movies I like. So yeah, I saw a very artsy movie about going into a cave. Gorgeous movie.
I want to back up for a moment though, Tim, and delineate here. Who are the not normal people versus the normal people that
normal people don't see 12 movies at a film festival in 1 week.
I see. So just like the people that you're going to see immediately following this podcast, not normal category.
The people I'm going to go see after this podcast are not normal people because I'm seeing them at a film festival. And for all of us, it will be at least our second or third film of the day. So.
All right. Well, I'm excited to hear about it as well because, there's always some good ones that come out.
It's in our backyard, and we have yet to. And there's some bigger releases. I remember when your First Reformed was.
Yeah, I saw First Reformed at the Wisconsin Film Festival that year.
So it's something we should go support, Care.
And the Nick Cage Plays Himself movie played just last night. Actually, sellout show. I didn't make it.
No, Tim, you need to see this. You need to see the.
I'm going to see it when it's in theaters, but I couldn't make it to a sellout show because it was sold out.
I still worry that it's definitely a movie to see with an audience of like individuals, people who know about Nick Cage and know his idiosyncrasies, because otherwise it's going to be lost, I think, on a general audience.
I would have gone to this film festival, but let me tell you what happened to me. I had the most overwhelming experience that I've probably had, I don't even know, like in the last 10 years. Joy through the roof, like anxiety levels, lowest they've ever been, like happiest. I can't even tell you the feelings of joy that I felt.
Because your in-laws left.
That's 50% of it there. That's 50%. The other 50%, I went to IKEA.
Oh, I thought you were going
IKEA is so good.
Yeah, I thought you were indicating. Well, it's probably also true is that I wasn't around.
Well, that was the other 50%.
Yeah.
No, it's.
So we're at 150% right now.
I'm at 150%. Actually, the IKEA part was the best of. I don't even know. Actually, they're all very equal.
So I just want to preface by saying that I was out of state, and nothing warms the heart as much as your partner writing you and saying, "Hey, if you want to take a few extra days on your trip, you go right ahead." Like, we don't need you here at the house. The girls are doing great. I'm better than I've ever been.
I've been doing this meditation journal that my friend gave me for my birthday, and I write it down, and like every day, like you have to like circle what face you're feeling, and like ever since I started it a week ago, it's been that like little face where there's like just a straight line across, like not particularly sad, but I'm also like not great. It's just ever since Rob left, it's been nothing but smiles, and it's I should be kind. It's not because of Rob. Again, I go back to this IKEA experience. It was like I haven't been there in like 15 years, and so I went in there. I went to the one, Tim, that's kind of by your parents' house, like near Milwaukee. The one
in Schaumburg.
No, in Milwaukee, like up that direction.
I haven't been to that one yet. The one in Schaumburg is actually closer to my parents' house.
It is basically like you're in that, those little handheld games with the silver ball that you try to like roll to get to the end.
Oh yeah, sure.
You're the ball, and you're just trying to like roll yourself to figure out how to get out, because you can't turn around once you're in the path. But every turn is more like visually stunning displays. And then here's the other thing. We all know I'm on the frugal side. Everything that I would turn like the plant or the fake plant or the real plant or the chair, I'm like, $40 for a chair, like put it in. So I'm like the weird lady that's now just got like an entire cart filled with like mirrors and alarm clocks and plants and like on the way out.
I am very excited that you've hit the 23-year-old unemployed ex-college student phase of your life, where your whole house will just be decorated with IKEA.
I know, but I'm here for it. Like, that's the other thing. And then this is the last thing on IKEA. But again, my joy was like the highest it's been in years. I get to the end, I'm about to check out, and I'm like, okay, I like to eat the free food at the hotel or whatever. We stayed the night because I like to like get my bang for the buck. Then I look up from the checkout stand. I look up, and in flashing bright lights, it's like in Danish or wherever, Swedish, they have a veggie dog with like fried onions and cabbage on it.
Get out.
An impossible veggie dog. But then it gets even better. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even hungry, but I have to go buy this hot dog. So I get into the line to buy the hot dog. Let me just blow your mind here for a second. 75 cents for the hot dog with all the fixings.
Food's a loss later.
I don't even know. I left that place feeling like I was on top of the world. Yep. I'm going back next week.
I know that you do the veggie thing, but you gotta bring back your meat eating self enough to do the Swedish meatballs. They're not terribly good, but they're great, if that makes sense.
And I bet $1. And the ice cream was $1.
The Swedish meatballs are like $6.50, I think.
Oh, we only get things that are less than $1 when we're out. But again, I'm still riding the high. I came home and I was like, Rob, I'm kind of excited to see you because I was just at IKEA.
Yeah, there was like a peck on the cheek. Like we really spiced things up. Yeah.
Yeah. It got a little steamy there.
So sounds like you need to send your wife on more IKEA trips.
Yeah, either that or go caving more often.
Maybe.
Hey.
Good callback.
Thank you. I like to go full circle. So as far as things that are going to bring you back down to earth, Care, let's talk about your list.
Oh,
yeah,
movies. This is
I'm
really
so
bring you down.
your list of shame.
Okay.
I took a page out of the audience book, and so I'm curious on how you're approaching this. The audience very intuitively kind of separated this out. Like, what is a list of shame? Like, are you personally ashamed for you not having seen it, or are others making you feel ashamed for not having seen it? So, what was your approach in trying to get this list together?
All right, here's what I did. So this was one of the easiest lists in terms of building out the totality. Like, hey, what's the exhaustive list of the movies that I'm embarrassed or ashamed that I haven't seen? Because it's an
easy list to get?
Well,
movies you haven't seen?
I keep one in my phone. When someone's like, but here's the reason. So people will come up to me and they're like, because we do a movie podcast and they assume that I've seen a lot of movies, people will come up to me and say things like, have you ever seen or don't you love the movie, Chicago? And I'm like, I haven't seen Chicago.
Do a lot of people do that? A lot of people ask you about Chicago?
All the time. All the time. And when I'm like, I haven't seen that, the look of horror. So like the eyes, the saucer eyes that I get, the look of horror, the oh my gosh, the reaction. And here's the distinction from basic people like me, like basic casual people. If they're horrified that I haven't seen it, then it absolutely had to be on this list. So I already kind of had that. I've got a list of like 50.
So it's like, do you know often about what the movie? So it's not a list of you've heard about it, you've been meaning to get to it. It's a list that people are holding you, making you
title,
feel.
And they've said you haven't seen this movie. There's shock and horror. What I'll actually do for you though is I actually don't know what any of these movies on my list for the most part are about. So I'll take a stab at telling you what I think they're about, and you can tell me how close I am.
That'll be a fun game.
I'm very excited. I'm excited to a degree that is unhealthy, frankly, based on what you just said.
One of them I think I kind of know, but I don't actually know. So these are the 5 that I've chosen are the ones that people seem the most horrified that I haven't seen.
And Tim, do I even have to ask, because I don't think you give a shit about what people think. So is your list comprised of ones that you personally have been meaning to get to and haven't and are ashamed of it? Or is it that you're being vulnerable here?
I have no vulnerabilities to be vulnerable about. I think it is genuinely accurate. It's not bragging. It's just stating a fact. I have probably seen more movies than any other individual I've ever met, except for some of the faculty members of this department. That's just reality. So no one ever really makes me feel like, how could you not have seen that? And they try. I mean, sometimes like some random 80s horror film will come up and I'll get a how have you never seen? It's like, well, I haven't. But meanwhile, I hear 17 others that I have seen. So shut your pie hole. I would say that my list is sort of a combination of a few things. I have a couple like lists I use as my like, here's what I care about. Here's the films that I should have seen. They're very highly acclaimed. And there's this website called They Shoot Pictures, Don't They? Which has a top 1,000 or actually top 2,000 now compiled from every best of decade, best of all time, like critics' books and such that the editor of this website could compile. So I looked at what were the very highly ranked films on that list that I haven't seen. And there's a website that I use called I Check Movies, which is sort of like Letterboxd, but without the sort of social media aspect. So it's better for me because I'm an antisocial person. But it's basically, it collects all of these lists and you can check every movie you've ever seen. But there's a certain collection of lists of like, here's, films that won certain awards, films that were at certain festivals, films that were on a critic's particular, like this particular critic did a list. And so I looked at the films that are on the largest number of lists on that site that I have not seen. And I also looked at films that I personally own that I haven't gotten around to, even though I've owned some of them for many, many years at this point. And it's like, well, come now. It's not even like I'd have to go out and find this film. It's in my house.
That's pure shame.
Then it's the shame element. These are, for the most part, films that I have lied about seeing. Not even that I would. Films that I have told lies to people, including possibly
us
on our website.
Oh, okay.
Not you two personally, but I think I might have implied that I've seen some of these in reviews that I've written. So films for which I have some sense that I need to actually cover my tracks about not having seen them.
Have you ever lied to me and said that you haven't seen a movie that you have to make me feel better? Has that happened too?
I don't think I've ever done that. That would be very out of character for me.
That feels out of character, but I didn't know you were a liar, so now everything's just flooding over me. At the same time.
I'm a shameless liar. I'm terrible at it.
You and Rob both. Gosh,
I lie all the time. So Rob, what was your criterion?
So actually, Tim, you and I are very similar. I didn't go to quite the lengths that you did, but I did go with a similar approach. I'm the IMDb 250 guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And because of that, my shame would come from not having seen movies on that list, because that is the list that I am judged. But I also have an element where I pass as a, potentially knowledgeable person about film. So I also went to the AFI list.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, on the IMDb Top 100 list, I've seen 80% of those movies.
Okay.
I've seen 80 out of
Top 100. Okay.
So I feel pretty good there. Nothing in that, like, there were some movies in there that I'm like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to get to that. Top 250, big drop off there. Now I'm at 66% of the top 250 I've seen. And the AFI list, only 50% of the movies have I seen of the top 100 AFI. But there is a lot of overlap. And I think each of the movies that I have picked are represented on both. So I try to identify movies that are on both of those lists and bring them to the table. And these are movies that I consider to be classics that are I think I would not only enjoy, but I should see.
You should see.
I should see.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I went with. And yeah, it's based on the audience list, I'm not alone. Within my shame.
I felt I didn't want to do this, but I did look at the lists that were out there because there was a ton of engagement on this one. I'm like, ooh, yes. I want to see what I might have missed too.
It's freeing. It's freeing to just get it out there. So I think people really wanted to.
They vented their ghosts in their closets. Yeah, for sure. But also, I a couple times like typed a response to be like, how appalling. How have you never seen that movie? And then I was like, ooh, that's probably like against what we're trying to do here. But if you haven't seen the movie Seven, there's something very wrong with you. I just can't believe somebody that hasn't seen the movie Seven. That's just
I would say in the specific case of Seven, I don't feel like I can shame anyone for avoiding notoriously like unpleasant horror films.
Oh, I can.
The sky's the limit for if it's not a gory R-rated horror film, then yeah, fuck you if you haven't seen it. But in the case of Seven, I'm like, I mean, how do you sell Seven to somebody? It's like, yeah, there's this movie where you watch like a fat guy blow up. Like,
I know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I always just try to opt for like a sell that I try to hone in on what they're going to be the most afraid about it, and then I just eliminate that from the explanation. Sure. So I'm like, it's nice. They give him a little gift at the end, a parting gift at the close of the movie, and Morgan Freeman's great, and just check it out. Like it's really good. And then there's surprise.
I get it. I totally do understand, Carrie. Like it's very important that all of us see every Kevin Spacey movie. I think that's 100% true.
Okay. All right. Maybe a bad example, but you should still see that movie. So
no, you should. It's a good movie.
So starting with your number 5, Carrie, what's your first shame indication.
All right, I'll tell you what I think it's about, and then you tell me if you know what it is. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So you're gonna say the plot of what you think the plot of the movie is.
Yes. Okay. I think that this movie is about two men who wear button-up shirts, like the button-up ones from the 70s, and they bowl and drink beer.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah. See, was that about it? Is that the right synopses?
I don't know what the button-up shirt.
I'm not sure where the shirts came from.
Yeah.
I feel like I visualize a guy with long hair wearing a button-up shirt.
Like
a guy with long hair wearing like a ratty cardigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a cardigan.
There's a cardigan. Okay.
If you would have said, like, you thinking bowler shirt?
Like a bowler shirt.
I mean, there are people who are bowler shirts in this film. Yeah.
So I guess I'm spot on with this one, but I have not seen The Big Lebowski, and it's one that friends from high school that were male loved this movie, and like every time I was like, no, I haven't seen it. They are appalled.
It definitely it has a following, right, Tim? Like this film. There's a certain... It does. Yeah.
So the weird thing for me about Lebowski, it has been picked up as this like beloved stoner classic, which, I mean, it is what it is. I think that is such a horribly unfair place for this movie to wound up, because this is also a Coen Brothers film. And to me, when I watch it, I'm not watching for like, ha ha ha, the dude smokes a lot of pot and says fuck. I'm watching it for like, look at this just impeccably constructed pastiche of detective tropes as written by my good buddies Joel and Ethan. So for me, it's sort of those guy friends you're talking about, Carrie. They like it for the wrong reasons, and they should not make you feel shame. I should make you feel shame.
Okay.
They like it. They like it for
it's
the
one
reasons.
of the great American films of 1998.
Yeah.
I mean, they are extreme cinephiles who appreciate art and form over function, or whatever it is.
They like it for the same reasons they like Pineapple Express. And
yeah, it's true.
That is.
And they probably smoke a lot of pot as adults. So that's...
But that being said, Lebowski is a hilarious movie. I think it is maybe the Coen's most like openly funny movie. I think it's probably my favorite Jeff Bridges performance.
Jeff Bridges. I was going to guess him, and then I couldn't get there. I was like, is it Jeff Daniels or Jeff Bridges? And I wasn't there. I was debating on this one, and tell me if I made the right choice. What's more horrifying, this or Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Which one's more?
Oh, for you, Lebowski's much more horrifying.
Okay, good.
You're not a Python person.
Oh, great. Well, then I feel really good about it. And so this is one worth seeing.
I would urge you to see this. I know you haven't had the best track record with Coen Brothers films, but I think you'd like this more than a lot of them. It's much funnier. It's much more like accessible, and it's not so like weirdly esoteric in its plotting. It's very straightforward detective riff. I think you'd like it. All right. I don't think you'd love it. I think you'd like it.
I think you'd like it too.
All right, Tim, shock us with your number 5.
Well, I almost don't want to, because you've been a brat about it. You made several jokes on and off the air about, I'll bet you're going to put Now and Then on your list. And I'm going to. It's my number 5, because I respect you as my co-host of this podcast, Carrie. I do feel bad that you've had this on several lists at this point. And I keep saying, I need to see that. And I haven't gotten around to it. But now I'm telling the world I should see it. It is important to me to support you in your film tastes.
Well, I could tell you.
So fuck you. I hope you fall off a cliff.
I
hope you go to IKEA and it collapses on you.
I hope one of those dressers there isn't constrained to a wall and it falls on you.
I hope you're trying to assemble your...
Can you hear Tim?
Mm-mm. My internet dropped out.
And can't hear you.
That was going to be funny. He needs to say that again.
I know. Tim, can you hear me? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
It's coming back in just a sec.
Okay. Hang on.
And we're back.
Can you hear Tim?
I can hear everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, you need to say exactly. You said, I hope, and you need to do it again.
Which one was I at? Had I gotten to, I hope the IKEA collapses on you?
You
right after that.
And then you said assemble. I think you were going to say assemble.
Okay.
Which is going to be funny.
I hope you get your box of your like Stuhlstart chair or whatever the fuck it's called, and you like open it and you're trying to assemble it and you put a screw in your finger. That's what I hope happens to you.
You know what? I would do that for another IKEA trip, but I want to also tell you, Tim, I can tell you from experience, I just watched literally 2 days ago, Now and Then with the girls again, and Rob was out of town and I'm like, it's a girls' night. We're going to watch this. I was horrified.
Because the content for the kids, or does it just not hold up? Period?
No, the content it absolutely holds up. It's the content for the kids. So much swearing. There's a point in there in which I was like, I thought these girls were all like 10-ish, 10 or 11, because that's when I watched it. There's a point in the movie where Brendan Fraser is walking down the road smoking some cigarettes and the girls pass him. And then there's a scene where they all just stop for a smoke together. So like the girls are like...
Brendan Fraser's in that?
Yeah.
Oh.
The guy that's Encino Man.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he was in there.
Okay. So they stop some old dude. He looks like he's like 40. They're all, I looked it up, 12 years old. They all stop and have a smoke with him. And I'm like... Girls, smoking's very bad. They're like, you don't have to give us the speech. There are more male anatomy scenes and conversations than I ever remembered. So unfortunately, our kids are now like, Abby is just this week going through health class. So previously, where she might not have known what a penis is, now she knows. So then they're like, oh, is it this big or is it this big? And they're talking about like how sometimes they get bigger. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And Alice is like, a penis gets bigger. Why does it get bigger? And I'm like, you're asking the wrong
Abby
person.
was able to tell her, I assume.
Yeah. I was like, there's some holes that Daddy's going to have to fill in here when he gets back.
Hey.
I know. That's not what I... holes in my knowledge.
I do not need to hear what's up to in the Jarzynski household. I might have to call Child Protective Services.
All of these things are horrifying. It was much dirtier and raunchier and languagier than I ever remembered as a kid seeing it. So
you're saying that I probably will like it.
Yes, that is what I'm saying. So I, again, enjoy it, watch it, let it wash over you, and then I want your review right up on the website.
Of course.
Well, I think I'm going to start out the strongest as far as like shame forward goes, because this is a very notable director, like one of the quintessential directors of all time. And I think I would actually enjoy this movie. So what I did is I narrowed down my list based on how I describe, but then I just picked the ones that I'm actually interested in seeing in rank order. And I don't know what's been stopping me from seeing A Clockwork Orange, directed by Stanley Kubrick.
I think you have seen this.
No, I have not seen it.
This is one with all the clocks.
No.
And the guys dangling from the clocks.
No.
That is not even vaguely what this movie is. I am thrilled that you thought that it was.
This is a dystopian future, I believe, and people of the criminal element get kind of like they get their mind warped in order to, like, they get a surgery performed on them to like straighten them out.
What's the one where like at night though they rearrange the whole city?
Oh, that's Dark City.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And there's like milk. I just remember there's milk.
I thought you were thinking of Safety Last, the Harold Lloyd film.
I could have been thinking of that too.
So I think I'm ready for A Clockwork Orange. It's been over 50 years. I don't know, 50 years. Roughly?
It is 51 years old this year.
51 years. I think I'm ready to sit down and take this one off my list of shame.
Definitely don't watch this one with the girls.
Okay. Hey, as far as Kubrick goes, like I think Shining is probably the most, or 2001: Space Odyssey. Like, am I at least past the, oh my gosh, you haven't seen that Kubrick? Like, or what rank order of Kubrick would there be?
Well, I don't know which Kubrick you've seen is the problem.
I've seen the two that I had just mentioned. 2001: Space Odyssey.
Those are the two you've seen?
Yes, I've seen Eyes Wide Shut. Somehow I've just avoided A Clockwork Orange.
I was going to say, if you saw Eyes Wide Shut and you managed to avoid Clockwork Orange, I don't even know how to describe your relationship with Stanley Kubrick because it's very confusing to me.
Yeah, I think I need to take the leap.
If you have not seen Dr. Strangelove, you should see Dr. Strangelove.
Rob hasn't seen that either.
It's on my list of shame. Yeah.
Wait,
but
this list?
Not this list.
Okay.
It didn't quite make this list, but I only wanted to have one director per pick.
I would be inclined to say I would be more surprised that you haven't seen A Clockwork Orange. So in that respect, it's a good fit. I would also say I think you will like Dr. Strangelove better.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah,
I like Dr. Strangelove better.
Interesting. Okay. So maybe one for Carrie.
Maybe,
as well.
maybe.
I think you would like Dr. Strangelove for what I know about it. So, all right, number 4, do you care?
All right, I'm going to try to describe this in the least offensive way possible because there's a way to be offensive about this.
Song of the South.
No. No, I haven't seen that either, if that's the actual movie.
Birth of a Nation.
I have not seen that, but I did see the remake, and that wasn't very good.
Well, the remake is not a remake. It's just the same title.
Whatever that is. Oh, yeah. So, no, this is the potential to be even more offensive than this because, Tim, in the past, on our own site, you have offended people while talking about this movie with your callousness. And so I don't know how to describe it. All that I know about it, I believe it's wartime era, I would say. And I don't know why that there is a list, but I'm assuming
Schindler's List.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah, because you've offended people before. I was like, is the list about children? Is the list about kids? And I just know that there's the little girl in the red jacket that I've seen.
I'm going to defend that image. I think it was a good image. I think it was funny, and I think that I don't apologize for it.
I know you don't. But I apologize on behalf of you for lots of things. So
well, thank you.
I'll do that.
Oh, you're not going to have a good time. Like this is the thing I'm trying to avoid. Like there are movies on not on this list that like the reason why I haven't is just taken the plunge because of like subject matter.
Yeah.
Like I know what the subject matter is.
Because sometimes it's a 3.25 hour movie about the Holocaust.
Exactly.
Oh, this is how. Yeah. I was
it's just like
Holocaust.
that just feels like I don't want to go through that.
Yeah, but if I ever tell people that I have not seen Schindler's List, it might. So this is 1993. Everyone saw this in high school. You saw this, like everybody's seen this movie, and I feel like it's a rite of passage to let you know how horrifying the world was before us. And I've never been able to stomach actually going and seeing it. I was worried that something might happen to the little girl in the red jacket. Can you tell me if something does?
Yes.
And it's not good.
It's the Holocaust.
Okay. I don't think I'll ever see
none
this.
of the things that happen are good.
Yeah, I thought maybe she would make it out as like a success story.
The goal in putting her in a red dress was to make sure that you recognized when you saw her corpse.
Oh no. I will never see that.
Not dissimilar to Jojo Rabbit in the why they spent so much time on shoes. Yeah.
Oh, that was also tragically awful.
But I will say Schindler's List definitely to me feels like a major gap for, I'm assuming, both of you, because I'm guessing you have not seen it.
No, I've seen it.
There you go.
One I haven't seen is The English Patient. I think, did that come out the same year?
I've seen The English Patient.
No, English Patient was 3 years later. They both won Best Picture. So
yeah, The English Patient was...
That's a real snoozer.
Yeah, I just couldn't make it through.
But I think this is simultaneously a film, Carrie, that you should see and a film that you won't like to watch.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is actually just not see it, though.
It is still a Spielberg film, and it is still like actually weirdly watchable in ways that are perhaps inappropriate for a Holocaust film, but it's not a grind. There are films that are much worse, like much more deeply unpleasant to watch on this subject.
Is Ralph Fiennes in this?
He is.
In Schindler's List, yeah. And he's a good guy or bad guy?
He's not very good.
Oh, man. Gosh. All right. Well, I'll think about it, but won't watch it. But thanks for the heads up on the coat situation, because now I really won't watch
maybe we
it.
can have a Schindler's List party. I've actually been jonesing. I'm thinking it might be time for me to rewatch that movie. It's been a few years.
I'll be getting popcorn the entire time that you guys are here.
I love it.
So yeah, that's my number 4. Tim, what's your number 4?
So my number 4, I'm pretty confident, is going to take us to the point where you will not only have never seen the films I've heard of, you will have probably not heard of the films I'm talking about, but people listening to this are going to start being really angry at me. Probably not with my number 4, certainly with my numbers 3 through 1. So my number 4 is a film, as I said, one of the sort of unifying things here was I own several of these films. So they're in my house. So they're just there waiting for me. And I owned this one, I think, longer than I have owned the others on my list. And I like the director's work. It is the third in a loosely connected thematic trilogy. The first 2 films in that trilogy, I think, are superb. One of them is one of my very favorite films of the 1960s, in fact. And I couldn't really tell you why I haven't gotten around to it, except that it's a little bit long. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. So a length of time that you can't just throw on. You sort of need to make plans for it. And it's never felt like the thing I wanted to make plans for in that moment. So the film I'm referring to is 1962's L'Eclisse, directed by Michelangelo Antonioni, the third in what is often called his Ennui trilogy, following 1960's L'Avventura and 1961's La Notte. 3 films about a bourgeois couple or bourgeois people just kind of being shiftless and aimless in the emptiness of post-war modernity. So sounds like a fun time, I know. And I mean, like, who doesn't want to watch that? But at the same time, I'm just like, who has 2 hours and 10 minutes of ennui in them today? right this moment. So I've owned it on DVD for over 10 years, and I still just haven't ever gotten around to watching it.
Wow. How do you get ennui? I don't think I have any ennui, but I don't know.
By being a European in the 60s.
Okay, so that's specific to this time and population of people.
Oh, no, I think other people can feel ennui, but I think you had to feel it if you were a European and it was the 60s.
Oh, no, I'm saying, what does ennui feel like?
Oh, ennui is just sort of malaise, just boredom, just emptiness, like nothing really matters. And you're not depressed about it. It's not like depression, but it's sort of the like benign form of depression. Or just
languishing.
Like,
it's languishing.
What? It's just like, life is just
I feel a little ennui lately. I'm going to start using that term.
Well, because Rob is back in town.
I know.
That's what it is.
I can feel the IKEA high just slowly sinking.
Ennui is the flat mouth.
Yeah.
Depression is maybe the slightly downturned mouth. Ennui is the flat mouth.
I'm feeling a little ennui today. I'm gonna start using that. So thanks for the heads up.
ENNUI if you ever need to write it.
I'm a little ennui from not seeing my number 4, but I do want to come clean about something because you're coming clean, Tim, about having movies in your catalog that you haven't seen. We own a copy of Pan's Labyrinth. No.
Yeah, we do own that.
Pan's Labyrinth.
But we've watched it.
No, I've not seen Pan's Labyrinth.
We just watched that for a watch party.
No, we did not.
What did we watch?
Labyrinth. I don't have any
we
idea
watched Labyrinth.
I thought that's the same movie.
No,
it is surely not.
Oh,
yes.
What's Pan's Labyrinth about?
It's a Guillermo del Toro.
Plus Spanish fascists.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, but the movie that I am bringing is one where I've seen this director's famous trilogy, and I knew that I'm not much into like those types of films. I would be much more into this one because it's a wartime film, much like your film, Carrie, but my wartime is the Vietnam War. I'm talking about Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now.
I haven't seen that one either.
I feel like that's one I should see, and
are
I would
shocked
enjoy
on that one. It's
and I
on
would
my top 10 list.
Yeah, people are shocked that you haven't seen it.
Yeah, maybe it's just you.
I don't think it's going to be
like
for you.
You judged me on Apocalypse Now. You're like, you haven't seen it?
No,
somebody
Probably
else did.
It's a way of hiding his own humiliation.
Maybe
I am
that's what it
genuinely
was.
shocked you have not seen this film, Rob.
And what makes it worse, the shame worse, is when movies are quotable, and there are so many quotes like taken from this film, and so when people say them, I kind of like I know what they're referencing. Like this is a movie that has pop culture references, as does A Clockwork Orange, and many of mine will. And like I don't feel like I'm part of the joke because just like your Big Lebowski.
Do you pretend like Tim does and just like ha, and then requote or quote another thing?
Just like when I first met your sister and I had convinced her that I had read Beloved.
The Tony Branch.
Yeah.
Tony Birch.
We had this like 1 hour train ride conversation about Toni Morrison. Yeah, Beloved. And she's
Toni Morrison.
Yeah. What did I say?
I said Toni
No, you
Morrison.
did. I was just so thrown by Carrie that it took me that long to find my voice.
This is, Tim, I want you to know that that's insight into my brain. It takes about 6 steps, and then sometimes I get there. But yes, Toni Morrison. I remember thinking, I want to be honest with you, Rob, I thought that was a gigantic red flag. Because you are so convincing. He sat there with my sister the first time they ever met.
I never told her that I read it.
Yeah.
We were just having a very deep conversation about it.
They had this deep, meaningful conversation. My sister's like, Carrie, I think he's a good one. Clearly a reader. My sister's
She's like, what other books have you read? I was like, oh, no, I've never read that. I've never read Beloved.
And I remember my sister's face just being like, this is either like a sociopath, like who is this person? But then I think she was charmed by the fact that you were honest about that you hadn't seen it after talking about it meaningfully for an hour with her. She was equal parts horrified and admiring of your skills.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Now.
Not one you could use for Beloved, but a trick that I learned once. If someone asks you if you've read a book that has been translated, you answer with not in English.
This is an amazing strategy. I could see both of you using that.
I'm totally stealing that. That's hilarious.
I never do that. Like I'm always like, nope, haven't seen it. Nope, haven't seen that either.
I actually very, very, very rarely pretend to read something I haven't read, but I sometimes do that with movies a lot.
That is amazing. I love that.
Now, Apocalypse Now, Rob, you will absolutely dig it.
Really?
I think you will,
okay.
I can very, very comfortably say that is a film you would respond to very positively.
Oh, speaking of wartime movies, I've also seen Kubrick's Vietnam War movie, Full Metal Jacket. So yeah, the Clockwork Orange. How have I not seen it? But yes, Apocalypse Now, I think I will enjoy. I think after this episode, I'm just gonna start watching these Get these off the
left
list.
And right.
There'll be no
That's
shame
actually
left.
one of my plans is to watch the 5 films on my list soon.
Yeah. We just got to do it.
I don't have that plan, but this next one, this is where it's going to get more embarrassing in my plot synopses because I get further and further away from knowing what's going on in these movies. This one, I will tell you that I think that this movie is Dirty Dancing. Every time I think about this movie, I picture Kevin Bacon and the girl, gal, dancing. I think there's dancing. I think it's a movie about dancing.
I know what movie you think it is, but I want you to keep going.
I don't. This is all I have. I think it's about dancing in the 50s or 60s, and I think there's music and maybe there's some sexual things in there. I'm also thinking it might be a little bit sexual. Do you know which movie I'm talking about?
You're referring to Footloose.
No. But
You're
it feels.
referring to Footloose.
But I think, you know what? I haven't seen that either.
I was going to guess Footloose.
I haven't seen
What
Footloose.
What other Kevin Bacon dancing movie?
Oh
is
no,
there?
it's not Kevin Bacon. Oh wait, that's not Kevin Bacon. That's in Dirty Dancing, is it? It's
no, that's Patrick Swayze. Kevin
Patrick
Bacon's in
Swayze.
Footloose.
Sorry, I'm thinking.
Have you seen Dirty Dancing? Because that should be on your list if you haven't seen.
I
Dirty
have
Dancing.
seen Dirty Dancing, and I confused Dirty Dancing with this movie in my brain.
But this movie is not Footloose.
I don't know what's happening.
Okay, sexy dancers running
Apollo
around.
13.
I don't think so. No, it's sexy dancers. Oh, I know. Gosh, I got this one. The hair does like the twist in the front a little
Hairspray?
bit. No.
Grease.
Yes.
Grease. That's John Travolta.
Yes.
There is 50s dancing and singing.
Is it a little sexy?
No.
No.
Not nearly sufficiently.
Especially. Was the synopsis I gave pretty close?
No, it's
Not
awful.
not even remotely.
I have no idea.
Could you tell by how, like, our guessing, like that?
I think I threw you off with Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon
though.
really
It
confused.
threw
For
you
sure,
off.
you threw me off all the way with Kevin Bacon.
I didn't mean that. I did mean Patrick Swayze, but it's John Travolta, I guess. What is this movie about? And is it worth seeing?
No, it's to the second question. And it is about 2 teenagers, senior year in high school. One of them is a ne'er-do-well greaser who falls in love with the other one, who's a preppy nice girl. And the preppy nice girl decides to be more like a greaser, and the greaser decides to be more like a prep. So they can meet each other in the middle and fall in love.
I don't know. I kind of like a little meeting in the middle.
Although, Chalker, what's her name? Channing?
Stalker Channing.
Stalker Channing. I was combining the names.
Her name is
Stalker Channing.
Yeah.
Her first name is Stalker.
Stalkered.
Stalker. Like a
Stockard.
Stockard.
Well, then call her Stockard.
That's not her name.
It feels like it should be. Otherwise, it sounds creepy.
I like her. I like her in it.
She's good.
That's who I like.
She is good. She's the best part of it, even though she's the most visibly older than teenage of the very visibly older than teenage cast.
Do they fall in love with it? Do they get more greasy or more goody two shoes, or do they
Well,
truly?
I can't give away what happens.
I don't know if I can bring myself to watch this.
You've got some songs. You got some Olivia Newton-John singles that get sort of wedged in, not terribly well into the soundtrack. I don't think it's terribly good. It is very iconic, and the original songs, like the Olivia Newton-John songs, are all pretty good. I don't really like the songs that were actually written for the stage version very much.
Okay, well, I'll think with the okay. This is
the
only way that I'll see
poodle
it.
skirts and 50s, your mom, it's something to see with your mom.
Would my-
maybe.
It's something to see with your mom. Your girls are too young for
Too
it.
young,
I would say.
okay.
It's too raunchy for the girls.
Okay. Well, you be the judge of that, Tim, after you watch Now and Then. Maybe I'm just a bad mom. So you see if it's
Maybe.
more or less raunchy than Now and Then. But that was my number 3. And again, people are like, how have you missed Grease? So that's like,
I don't know who you're talking to.
I have so many friends, Rob,
Okay.
that say that to me every day. So that's why I made my
Grease does feel like a touchstone in a way that I can absolutely see someone being shocked you've never seen Grease. I have figured out at this point that you never watch musicals on your own volition, so I'm not shocked that you haven't watched Grease.
Yeah.
But certainly I can see where someone would.
That's true. It was this or Karate Kid, and I ended up going with Grease.
Oh my gosh, Karate. I should have went with Karate Kid. I'm much more appalled by that.
Oh, I am much less shocked that a woman of Carrie's age has not seen the Karate Kid than Grease.
I
to be
know.
fair.
I just knew that Rob would be appalled because he's that was his lifeblood as a child. He was like, I want to be this guy. So I'll get to Karate Kid at some point too. And that's my number 3. What about you, Tim? Where's your number 3?
So my number 3 stays in Europe, where we just were from my number 4. Stays in the Criterion Collection. In fact, it stays in the Criterion Collection 2-disc sets that I have owned for more than a decade, no less. This is a film. The reason I have this one above Leclise, it is certainly a less like respected film than Leclise, but it is a film I think I will enjoy more because it's in a genre that I particularly love, which is the sort of capery crime thriller directed by a man who I know to be very good at making capery crime thrillers, Jean-Pierre Melville. This is the film where at least a couple people who I know listen to this show are about to be thunderstruck that I have never seen 1970s Le Cercle Rouge, or The Red Circle.
What?
You didn't have to do that.
I wanted to be along with everybody that's listening. I
have a couple particular people that I expect the minute they get to this point in the podcast, I'm going to receive a text from them. But so this is, many people would say this is Melville's best film. In fact, I obviously can't speak to that because I haven't seen it. I doubt it's his best film personally, but never say never. So I don't know what it's about. I just know that it's crime. I know that the cover has a gun. And so there's like guns involved. There's gangsters. I believe it's a heist movie of some extraction. And this is a filmmaker whose work I pretty much unabashedly and without exception love. I've seen most of his other films that are like available in North America, which is not all of them. But Le Samurai is a film by Jean-Pierre Melville that I think is really just phenomenal. Bub Le Flambeur. So like I need to have seen this film. I will love this film. I will give this film 5 stars when I watch it. Again, part of it falls in that perfectly awful running time. I believe this one has a 2 hour and 24 minute running time, which is murder. I can never schedule movies that are between 2 and 2.5 hours long. It's just like the worst time for a movie to be. And I think that's probably the biggest reason why I have not seen Le Cercle Rouge.
But you already know you're going to give it 5 stars.
Maybe I'll be in a really shitty mood and I'll only give it 4.5. I don't know.
It's nice to know that in advance, though. Like, what if you're just like, I need to pick me up. I need to love this thing that I'm going to see. Just throw that guy on, you know?
But I can love movies that are only 90 minutes long. And then I have an extra 45 minutes to go like bake or do my dishes or clean out the cat litter.
Or watch Now and Then. All of these are options.
For fast forwarding through Now and Then so I can fit it into 45 minutes. But no, so Le Cercle Rouge, I don't think I've lied about this one. I've lied about Leclise. I've lied about my number 2. I don't think I've ever lied about Le Cercle Rouge. I think I just changed the subject.
Oh, or do the thing where you're like, I haven't seen it in English, potentially.
Well, that would be a bit of a cheat because I'll never see it in English because it is a French language film.
I know, but maybe they won't know.
That's true.
Well, I won't have time for baking with my number 3 because it is a long one. And that is primarily
Satan Tango.
Give us clues.
No. It's actually come up a lot on many of Tim's lists.
Satan Tango.
And I don't think I remember you referencing Satan
Showa.
Showa.
But no, this one just Showa is on.
Showa is the movie to see after you get through Schindler's List. Let's put it that way.
What about Grave of the Fireflies?
No, none of these are the ones I'm referring to. This one is
Grave of the Fireflies only 8 minutes long.
3 hour plus film. Has been brought up a number of times. And I think it's the length. I think I love movies that take place in the desert because I love the desert landscape.
Oh, The English Patient.
No.
Oh.
However, Lawrence of Arabia is just, for whatever reason, just haven't sat down to.
It's not calling to you.
It's not calling me because I don't think that does a lot happen. Is plotting wise, like, does it move? Like, it feels like
it moves
really
a lot
long.
faster for its first 2/3 than its remaining third, which is not maybe the best thing, but it moves a lot in those first 2/3.
I think what I want it in my mind to be is like everything of Last Crusade. Like, I just want it to be Last Crusade.
Oh, it's not that.
Yeah, I know. It
is extremely not that.
Is there any levity in Lawrence of Arabia?
Yes, just not frolics.
Okay, no frolics.
It is a serious movie about politics and war.
I think Tim's idea of levity is also different than yours, and so I don't think there's going to be any toot jokes, Rob, or like, poop laying around in the desert for laughs. Like I think you're different. They're different.
There is not. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No camel poop.
No, there is not.
I'm still planning on. I want this on my like a really nice 4K version of this. I'm seeing on Amazon that they're going to have like some sort of steelbook 4K coming out in June. But for all of the ones that I've mentioned thus far, Tim, which is a Clockwork Orange, Apocalypse Now, Lawrence of Arabia, do you recommend like a Criterion 4K? Like what kind of format should I be looking for here?
I mean, all of them I think are available in 4K, though they're not Criterion. I will say, however, for this film, for Lawrence of Arabia, what you really want to see is is do you want to get it? Do you want to wait for it to come around on 70 millimeter film?
That's what I keep hearing. You've said this. I get emails from Los Angeles because the American Cinematheque like brags about playing this like once or twice a year for a week at a time. I guess I'm gonna have to fly to L.A. or I understand Chicago.
It shows up in
right?
Chicago quite frequently, actually.
I'm gonna next time. Can someone listening when it pops up, like let me know. I will do it. I will take the time. I will go see it on 70 millimeter. So that's my number 3. That actually takes us to our break. You can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alternateending.com. That's alternateending.com. Before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. Get early access and exclusive content. Make us watch a movie. Pick your own episode topic like Andrew Milne has. And more from our Patreon site, celebrating their anniversaries in April. Had a big list of It's Nice to Be Nominated folks. We had Brian Malbinator. We had Julia Eastwood, Scott Dietrich. And then for Razzie Awards, we had Callum Hemphill, David Aiello, Haley, Margaret Doran, Mark McComas, Rachel Ann, and Brendan McAllister.
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. That's quite a long list.
Yeah, thank you for all your support. Happy anniversary. Anything in Tim's sack, Kara?
Tip sack is empty. Lonely this week. But our review sack, I need a better word for that. What's a good sack for reviews?
I'm not good on the spot.
You're not.
Let's be honest.
Yay sack?
I mean, what did you just say?
Yay sack, maybe? Yippee sack? I don't know. We're gonna wordsmith this afterwards.
The yippee sack.
Yippee sack. Thank you for.
Yippee sack doesn't make it sound any less sexual. It just makes it sound much more like
exciting.
Tawdry.
I thought, okay, well, welcome to the Yippee Sack. We'll think about that for next week. But thank you for those of you that are going out and leaving reviews. Just like Harai Khalsa, who left us a review that said outstanding, and they are unique and enjoyable. The team brings personality to everything they do. I guess I can agree with that. And I enjoy your reviews again and again. And then also, like Danny Rube, 023, love this podcast. Movie reviews have never been done better. I love the topics of discussion, the varied titles, sorry, Danny Rube, I'm having a little trouble getting through that. And love, the word love really caught me up there, and love that the podcast doesn't exclusively review new movies. I think everyone can agree the podcast world, or maybe just the world in general, needs more Carrie in it.
You added that last piece.
No,
but that's fine.
I did not. I would never say that. I did not, but I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do. And this is one of my really good friends. So that's why I'm not actually a very good person, but she in particular likes me. So that's why she left that. So thanks, Danielle.
Okay.
You're sweet. I love you. Back to you, Rob.
Yeah, and also want to thank all of our listeners who support the show and make their Amazon purchases through our site. Doing is easy. Just go to our website, alternateending.com, click on the Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. Since our last episode, here were the things that were purchased. Had a USB audio adapter.
You need those.
Yeah, dog poop dispenser. Now that the ice has thawed.
It's bad out there.
Yeah, I'm afraid to go out there. There are bombs just lying all over our yard.
You know it's going to be me.
I know. I don't think it will be.
I do.
I don't think it will be you.
I do. So Rob, Tim, I don't know if this is a Rob thing. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to gender stereotype. Rob's ability to find things is extremely limited. So he's like, oh, I went out there, picked up all the dog poop, and then I go out there and it's like there's 1,000 more. So I don't know what's happening out there when you're out there, but I'm on phase 2, which ends up being more labor intensive,
okay.
For being honest.
Well, I do not disagree there. I was countering the fact that you were saying that I don't go out and pick up the dog poop. I do it.
You just do a poor job of it.
I just do a poor job. We also had a kitchen...
You could say that you do a shit job.
There you go.
That would be
good.
On point.
Kitchen sink basket strainer. We also had some Kindle ebooks purchased. Luke the Priest, the Jewish Gospels, and Alone Out There. Also some kitchen...
Oh, Alone Out There.
I was really hoping that Luke the Priest was like a British sitcom or something, and now it's apparently about Luke the Priest.
Alone Out Here. Is that still the same thing that you're thinking?
I don't know. That's Rionak's book, isn't it?
If it is, I know. I just got Rionak's book in the mail. I believe it was just published. So our contributor Rionak's also a YA author. Go out there and find. I think is it Alone Out Here? Is that the same title?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Go out there and grab it.
And read it.
Just like someone did on Kindle Book. Also had a Brita standard everyday water filter pitcher. Also had Epson.
Oh, that reminds me that I need to buy more filters. So
see, this is why this is a service to us all. Also had ink cartridges. Maybe you're out of ink. Need to go replenish
Is that. You, Rob?
No, I think we're all stocked up for a bit.
Okay, good.
Also had a heavy-duty ground cover pack of 2. Oh, that's for to prevent
ground
the weeds.
Cover pack.
Yeah, ground cover pack.
Yeah.
Prevent the
cover
weeds.
the ground.
Ground-pack.
Yeah.
Cover.
Yeah. Some nylon collars. Did you ever find Henry's leash?
No.
Okay.
And I'm appalled, Tim. You're going to be completely appalled. So we boarded the dogs, but like through Rover. So it was in somebody else's house. She was absolutely lovely. And I was appalled to have to bring one of those pinchy collars. I don't like to put those on the dogs, but we normally don't have any collar on them. So I found the one regular collar, could not find the other. So I had to put the pinchy collar on there. And when I picked him up today, she had put her own dog collar on him so that he didn't have to wear the pinchy one. And then I went into a 45-minute explanation about how I hate pinchy collars. This is the only one I could find because Rob doesn't put anything back. She didn't care.
I don't put it. Okay. We also had, which I find interesting, I was going to invent this, and it sounds like someone already did, Stella and Chewy's magical dinner dust for dogs. I think it's like seasoning to make, because you've always said like the dogs aren't interested in the food. So, but what if you could sprinkle like a condiment or
like
seasoning?
Is dogs not eating the food put in front of them an actual problem? Because my impression is that dogs will eat literally everything.
Yeah,
No, well, ours do. The problem we run into is they have etiquette issues. So they have like specific areas of the house that they will eat. They have to be like out of sight of each other. And then Henry's a gentleman and he's like, he wants Lucy to finish her food first and then he will eat his food. So we know that they have some sort of relationship dynamic that's happening, but we can't quite figure it out. So we started putting them in their cage with their food to try, and still they will sit in front of their food and wait till the other one is finished.
We need some Marie's magical dinner dust for dogs.
Let's see what happens.
Let's do
it. I mean,
it
sounds to me like you have Lucy's the alpha.
She is.
Oh, she's definitely the alpha.
She's definitely the alpha.
So he's not eating until she's done because that's how dogs do.
Interesting. I love it though. I think it's just sweet and gentlemanly. So.
No, it's that he's terrified of her. It's that she has showed dominance.
We all are.
He lives in mortal fear. But no, like I have a friend whose dog will like go after like tin cans to get like ketchup on the tin can and shit when we're taking her for walks on the street. It's like, I don't know if your dogs are fussy, but I mean, you should adopt her dog because her dog is a fucking garbage beast.
Garbage. All right, good to know.
And then, Tim, this is something you'd be interested in. Toys and games. We had an Insky, My Neighbor Totoro tilting figure collection, official Studio Ghibli merchandise. How about that?
I don't know what all of those words mean in that order, but I'm very excited that somebody bought Totoros.
There you go. Video on Demand had a rental for Orphan, 2009's Orphan.
Scary one.
I did like Orphan.
That was scary.
I think they're making a sequel with the same
I think they are.
actress, which is amazing.
It's been a while.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll be as good to have. I think it's a prequel, actually, the more I think about it. Also on Blu-ray and DVD, speaking of 4Ks, Predator on 4K, Ultra
I haven't
HD.
seen Predator.
I bought the Predator 4K set. It was the first 4K I ever owned because it's supposedly like the first time it's ever actually looked good on home video. So even though I don't have 4K or really even have a future plan for getting 4K, I'm ready for when it shows up.
Oh boy, I'd love to borrow
I almost
that.
put
I'd
that
love
on my
to borrow
list
that
today.
disc, Tim.
Yeah.
I might just have to let you.
How about this, Tim? You have the limited edition American Werewolf in London 4K because someone got that.
I got the Steelbook, the good old-fashioned Blu-ray.
Nice. We also had Southland Tales, the Cans Cut, probably in honor of another Patreon selection. You just recently reviewed that. Cans Cut better? Can Cut better?
I actually think I like the theatrical cut slightly better, if I'm being honest.
I'd agree.
You have no idea.
I know.
RoboCop on 4K, Alligator on 4K, and then Son of the White Mare on Blu-ray.
I've never seen
I
Son
need to
of the
see
White
that
Mare.
still. That's actually something I should be a little ashamed of not having seen.
Well, there you go. When we come back, we'll find out what is on our remaining list of shame. And welcome back to Alternating. We're talking about our lists of shame. For shame. Carrie, you're left with 2. We haven't had any overlap yet. I think we're going to have 1.
I don't know. know.
And I think it's going to be here in this top 2 here.
You think
because that's
so?
all that's left. But
okay,
yes.
This is where my palms start to sweat a little bit too, because this one, I don't know why I've been putting it off. I think about it every year during the holidays that I should watch it. This is what I know. I know that there's a guy that I'm like, I think I want to, if I were around back in the day, I think I would have wanted to marry you, is what I think of when I see this guy.
Jimmy Stewart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's his name, I think.
Life.
Yes.
We saw this together, I thought.
Is it
I've never
really?
seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I've never seen this movie. You watched it by yourself.
Oh, I did watch it by myself.
You did?
I think we own it on rent on
Oh, you
Prime.
probably bought it.
I bought it because
on
that was
Prime.
the only. It just made sense to buy it.
That's all I know. I see him because he seems like a good dad, and he seems like the kids are just climbing all over him. They seem like they're having a good time. He's bringing Christmas home. It seems like there might be, maybe he's gone for a while, and then he returns because they're so excited to see him. So unless he's super fun dad, and they're just always excited to see him, there's a reason why they're excited extra to see him and are kind of dangling from him in this movie. So I think it's a movie about Christmas and Jimmy Stewart being a good dad.
It's about those two things. It's about suicide. It's about bankruptcy, and it's about kleptocracy and how we're allowing wealthy people to take control of everything in our society.
Light.
You learned about the old savings and loans business.
Does he work in the banks?
Merry Christmas, you wonderful old savings and loan.
He doesn't have a lot of money. Does he not have a lot?
He has insufficient money, shall we say.
Okay. Is this going to pick me up or bring me down?
It's going to bring you down so that it can then pick you up all the further.
Yeah.
It's a crier.
It's a what
I'd say
if,
so.
like a what if kind of film.
You guys are getting a little vague for me here, but
it has. I mean, if you somehow don't know the plot of It's a Wonderful Life, I don't want to be the one to tell it.
yeah, no, I don't. That's why but maybe I just don't want to know.
Watch it this coming December. It is a Christmas movie. I think you could watch it any time of the year, but you're supposed to watch it at Christmas.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well,
yeah, it's a staple for most people. Like this is what they throw on.
I know.
This Miracle on 34th or whatever.
Actually, this past Christmas, I watched it for the first time in several years, and it was even better than I remembered.
Oh, and it's from 1946, so this one's been around a while. I've had time to see it, but I have not. I think part of it, too, was when I was doing the How Have You Never Seens, or trying to do those for a while, and then kind of fell off of them. Like, this was one that I was like, oh, this should absolutely be one of those, but I just haven't been, like, mentally prepared to do video-y stuff. So it's the kind of thing that I think, put off because I thought if I jumped back into that, I would do this one. But... Okay. I'm going to promise to see it this Christmas. That's going to be my plan.
I think you should. I think you will find this movie all the things you want it to be.
Isn't he like, hello, Jimmy? Isn't that one of the lines? He's like, hi, Jimmy. No.
Sure.
It's not a line. Okay, never mind. I take that back. All I knew was about Jimmy Stewart. So,
Jimmy Stewart's adorable.
It is peak Jimmy Stewart, I would say.
Sweet, handsome.
Not his best performance, but his most him performance.
What is his best performance?
Probably Vertigo.
Oh, he was good in that too. Again, this list could have been a whole lot longer if it wasn't for a lot of people that are part of AE that got me to watch things like The Godfather.
So of your list so far, this is the one that you should be most ashamed about because it is the most I think that you'll enjoy.
No, I think first one is probably more.
Big Lebowski?
I almost can't imagine that your number one would be more shameful unless it's like Titanic and you've just been lying to us this whole time.
Yes.
That would be the most amazing.
That would be pretty awesome.
You know the best part of that? That would mean that the tears that happened several episodes ago
were
fake and manufactured, and maybe I'd actually like to switch my number one to that just for the bit, just to pretend that I never cried or that I sold you on my cry. But nevertheless, that's my number two. Tim, what's your number two?
So my number two is one that I have 100% for sure lied about, although I don't know if I've ever lied about it in print, but I've told several grad students to their face that I have seen this film. Again, one that I own. Again, one from a filmmaker that I deeply, deeply admire. And I can't even pull out the running time one in this case because I believe this movie is only 98 minutes long. So it's well within my wheelhouse for beloved running times. A little bit of a defense. It used to be very hard to lay hands on it, but that hasn't really been true since about 2014 or so. So I've had several years at this point to catch up with it. I'm referring to 1990s Close Up by Abbas Kiarostami, the great Iranian filmmaker. I mentioned that I had a list, They Shoot Pictures, Don't They? Their top 1,000 list. This is the highest ranked film on that list that I have not seen which is part of why I put it on. It's number 93 on the current version of that list, I believe. So the only film in the top 100 I haven't seen. And I know I'll love it. I've loved so many Kiarostami films. I know what this one is doing that is going to make me love it. It's a documentary, sort of, in which the director like tells the story of a man who was pretending to be someone else. He was committing fraud against his family, and he has all of the people involved playing themselves. So like the fraudster is playing himself, pretending to be someone else to a family who is playing themselves, being fooled by this act of fraud. I'm sure it's great. Everyone loves it. It's like a beloved masterpiece, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I really don't know why.
Is there a chance that anybody that's listening today has been lied to?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then we'll make sure to market it. If I did
lie to you personally about having seen 1990s Close Up, I apologize.
We all make mistakes, Tim. It's okay. I mean, not me personally. I wouldn't do that, but others do. So it's okay. Don't feel bad.
I do feel bad. Lying is a sin. Lying makes the baby Jesus cry.
That's true. And no one better than to lead you into, Rob, your number 2.
Yeah, my number 2 I think is going to be your number 1, Care, because this is one that I'm sure if someone's telling you that, like, how have you never seen, it's probably going to be your Grandma Shelby saying, how have you never seen Gone with the Wind?
I haven't seen Gone with the Wind.
And is it on your list? Is it your number 1?
No.
What the hell?
It was on my top 10, but my number 1 was more appalling than that, I think. Maybe.
I mean, for the record, I would consider this to be less appalling than It's a Wonderful Life, Carrie.
See?
Yeah. Well, that's goes back to the runtime. Like this one, I need to sit down, and I like period pieces.
It's Grandma Kathy too. It's
it was Grandma Kathy's
favorite movie,
okay.
Which is the reason why I feel like I should watch it. I wonder if I ever lied to her. I wouldn't do that, but it was her favorite.
I was chatting with contributor Parker Brennan as well too, and I don't know if you've read the book or know about the book, Tim. You could fake it like I did, Beloved, but apparently Gone with the Wind, the book, also very racist. Very racist.
Yeah, the book is more racist than the movie.
Yeah. So
the movie makes sort of winking nods to the Ku Klux Klan. The book straight up says, "Oh, thank God for the Ku Klux Klan putting the blacks in their place." So like,
okay.
The movie is for sure trying to soft pedal the very racist book. It doesn't get there all the way. I still love the movie, but it is definitely racist.
Yeah, it got canceled for a bit. I don't know if it's back.
It didn't get canceled. It got pulled because they wanted to put a the times were different warning in front of it, and that was misinterpreted as a cancellation.
Got it. What were you saying?
So the movie was supporting that thing, the racist thing.
The movie is not taking an explicit stance on the Ku Klux Klan.
Okay. Which is a stance.
But it is, however, a racist movie.
Okay.
But now available for us to watch, I believe, on streaming.
But also super great.
HBO Max, Tim? Is that where one finds it?
It's on HBO Max, yes.
Okay, yeah. So no reason for us not to sit down.
Gorgeous movie, wonderful production design. This is like Hollywood cranked up to 100%. Like this is the most Hollywood movie.
Yeah, this is why I need to see this.
I just feel like I don't want to. I don't know why.
What about it? The length?
I don't know. It's length. I don't know that I love Judy. Is it not Julie? Judy. Is it Judy Garland?
No.
Oh.
No.
I don't like her either.
You don't like Judy Garland? You don't like Judy
Garland? Do I don't know.
First off, how can you not like Judy Garland, you heartless wench?
Maybe I do. I don't know. I don't feel like I do. I think she's a little too prim for me.
Dorothy from Wizard of Oz?
Judy Garland is prim?
She seems a little primmy. But wait, who's the gal in Gone with the Wind?
Vivien Leigh.
Oh, Vivien Leigh. She seems a little too prim for me.
She is prim, but the character is prim.
I know. And I just like a little bit more rough around the edges, I think.
Well, I think you should see Gone with the Wind. I will say this: when we did our recent episode of the movies you need to see before you die, sort of the flip side of this movie, or flip side of this list rather, I had a slot for what is the most Hollywoodish movie. I came so close to putting this instead of Casablanca, and the main reason I didn't was because this movie is crazy racist. And it's like, well, I can't tell everybody they need to see this crazy racist film, but it's very good. It's very Hollywood. It's like it's the Hollywood studio production industry. Just like it's everything that only Hollywood could do for 4 hours of like pure moviness.
And it was received. I mean, it's still one of the most successful movies of all time.
I know it.
It was hugely successful. Set a record for the number of Oscars it won. Just a gorgeous, over the top, just piece of cinema. I think this is a great film.
All right. Well, if you guys come watch it with me, I will watch it, but I'm not watching it alone.
Yeah.
Happily do so.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Is it to me?
We're at number 1.
Oh my gosh.
And no overlap.
This went fast. No overlap. And this surprises. This will not be on either of your lists. Both of you have definitely seen it. And this is the one that I for sure know that, if there was a quality that Rob could not like about me, which is hard to find, this might be it. For sure. Like, I think this is going to be a red flag for him, or maybe his first.
Does Rob know that you have not seen this movie?
I thought so, which is why, I don't lie like you people about these things. I'm very open about my gaps in life. So this one, I'll tell you what I think it's about. So let's see. I do know that it's very sunny because 100% of people, for some reason, I think are wearing sunglasses. And Rob pretended to be this person at one point after having an edible. And there's lots of jackets. People are wearing
The Matrix.
How have you not seen The Matrix?
Because I haven't seen it.
Oh, and then we were gonna watch it. Yeah, then we were gonna watch it before.
I have seen the
remake,
third or
the
fifth or
fourth.
eighth one or whatever
Saw
it
the
is.
fourth one, yeah.
The fourth one, which made no sense. And it was
Resurrection.
Well, no, because you haven't seen the first 3, so it would make no sense.
But I did miss the first one from
You
1999.
went to it, right? And you just didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
No. I went there, but then I had popcorn and I sat in the back and I was talking about a boy that was there that we liked for the whole movie.
And his name wasn't Keanu Reeves.
No, his name was... I can't actually say his name because he listens to this podcast.
Okay.
And it would be embarrassing.
Well,
So, I did find out that he listens to the podcast, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I
if
hope
I
I've never
guess
said his name.
will you say yes?
You'll never guess it.
Okay.
But it would be embarrassing, even though we're almost 40, if he knew that this happened. The other weird thing is we all had a crush on him simultaneously, and that didn't weird us out. We all were like giggling that he was in the movie, and I could not tell you for $1 million what this movie was about. So
It's about The Matrix.
It's about The Matrix. So again, I'm just assuming high sun, a little bit nippy, because everyone's in jackets and sunglasses all day.
For the record, I don't even think it's close that you should feel more ashamed for not having seen It's a Wonderful Life than for not having seen The Matrix.
Wait, you're saying The
Agreed.
Matrix is worse?
I'm saying you
For
will like
you.
It's a Wonderful Life better, and
Yeah.
also It's a Wonderful Life is globally better as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the right call there.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you have some interesting picks. Like, I think you'll sit through, if you were to sit through those 5 that you have on your list, I agree with you'd
These
end
aren't
up
movies
with.
that I went in thinking like, oh, I love these. I want to see them. It's the ones that people are the most like, if I were to walk up to any dude on the street and be like, yeah, I've never seen The Matrix and I was born in 83, they're going to be like, are you living under a rock? Everybody saw The Matrix. I feel like. No?
The Matrix is actually the first movie, not maybe the first movie, it is a movie that I have lied about seeing. Because I did not see it until right before the sequels came out. And I routinely, we were college students. Rob and I both started college in 2000. So right when the movie was brand new. And it was just easier to say that I'd seen it and then just
Right.
change the subject.
I haven't seen it in English. I'm sorry. No, sorry. I thought, Rob, you were going to be more appalled by that, but you're not. You're just.
I
it.
remembered that
That you
was
hadn't
the
seen it,
that was
yeah.
the situation.
The minute that
I
you
tried to
said it,
forget.
I was like, oh, that's right. When we talked about Resurrections, it came up that you hadn't seen it.
I know. Spoiler alert. But that's my number 1. So, Tim, shock and awe us with your 1930s, never seen French film.
It is from 1946.
Oh, late.
Thank you. It's quite a late movie. So this is a sequel to a movie that I have seen, and I've had multiple opportunities to see this movie, and I've never quite taken the opportunity to do so. I don't really know why. I'm sure I'll love it. I've seen clips from this movie because this is one of like the film studies movies. That's why it's my number 1. I had Close Up at number 1 for most of the time I was working on this list, but then I was like, you know what? Close-Up's only really been available for less than 10 years. Close-Up is, a 1990 movie. This is a very old movie that has been like a centerpiece of my scholarly field since my scholarly field existed. It is the final film completed by one of the greatest filmmakers who ever lived. It is the only film I have not seen by that filmmaker. That director is Sergei Eisenstein, and the film is Ivan the Terrible Part 2, a film that he shot several years earlier than 1946, but then Stalin got very concerned that the film Ivan the Terrible was a metaphor for Stalin the Terrible and tried to bury the film, and indeed succeeded in doing so for quite some time. But it's this
For shame.
story of what?
For shame. For shame.
It is for shame. It's the second half of the life of Tsar Ivan of Russia and how he was terrible. And what I do know about it, because this is the thing that like shows up in film studies, there are hats. People are wearing hats. They're very excessive hats that are like strange and have nothing to do with the plot and are very distracting. But there's this kind of like beautiful graphic quality to the hats, apparently. So I assume that's the plot. It's just Ivan's trying on hats for 2 hours.
You're passing people on the street. You're like, I haven't seen Ivan the Second.
This one, I have never had to lie about it because I just think people would never have even assumed I hadn't seen it because this is like, this is baby steps. Like you don't get into film studies if you haven't seen Ivan the Terrible Part 2, and I haven't seen Ivan the Terrible Part 2.
I feel like there's so many movies that we've talked about where you're like, oh, I haven't seen that, and like none of them have made it on this list.
None of them matter to me. These 5 movies matter. Well, 4 movies. Now and then was my sop to Carrie.
I appreciate it. I didn't get anything.
Like when you're like, Tim, how have you never seen The Karate Kid Part 3? It's like, I don't know, I haven't, but I don't like stay up at night not thinking about how I haven't seen Karate Kid Part 3.
What's that movie with the imaginary friend named Fred?
Drop Dead Fred.
Have you seen Drop Dead Fred, Tim?
I have not seen Drop Dead Fred.
Exactly. That is what's wrong with this list. You need to have that on there at number 1.
I bet I don't.
I think you do. So there's some holes in here, but he's going for a different angle.
An episode with no overlap. But Tim, I think you will agree with my number 1. I think it's a movie that I would think I would like. I have no excuse for the runtime. I have no excuse for the timing of the movie. Like it's right in my sweet spot. I think it's late 70s, early 80s.
Give us some clues.
1976, winner of 4 Oscars. Has a writer that's an incredible writer, incredible director.
Clues.
Yeah, it's starring Robert De Niro.
Raging Bull.
I've seen Raging Bull.
Taxi
Driver.
There's no excuse. Like I love monologues. Yeah. I love the grittiness, like New York grittiness. And so I think I would really like this movie. And I feel like it's a big gap.
You would for sure respond well to this film.
And it's under 2 hours, right? Yeah, like
it's under. It's like just barely under 2 hours.
I think I would really like this.
Is it horror?
No. It's more of a drama thriller.
Horror about the life of people living in cities and how those lives are emptied of meaning.
And so, Carrie, like you had the best response of all of us, I think, to Joker. Like many of the movies that I watch now, like have been inspired by the Robert De Niro's performance and Martin Scorsese's direction of this. And again, a lot of pop culture reference that I am missing out on that I'm pretending to know about.
You nod,
I laugh. I laugh. Ha ha ha. Are you talking to me?
Is that from this movie?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
That's from this movie.
I use that almost every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what is he talking to?
He's talking to himself in the mirror.
He's talking to himself in the mirror. He's play acting it. Is he going to be a good tough guy? Is he going to be able to like whip out a gun and be like, yeah, I'm tough?
The answer is yes. Yes, you are. That's like that's how I pump myself up in the morning. Look at the mirror. I'm like, yeah, are you talking to me? And then sometimes I am. That's who knew.
So yeah,
I feel enlightened.
I need to see this film, and I feel like my list is the most complete list of shame. But let's actually ask the audience.
I want to say, you want to talk about real shame, like not just shame of sort of like, oh, I haven't seen this movie, but shame isn't like people actually need to stop taking me seriously. I don't really like Taxi Driver very much.
Oh, okay.
They're not talking to you, is what you're saying.
So there you go.
That's a very honest admission.
I think it's a profoundly overrated film.
Thanks for putting that out there.
Yeah.
From just overall, or is there a particular thing that you feel like people say like?
I mean, I think I don't think it's a bad film. I think if it weren't so highly rated, I'd probably have a slightly higher opinion of it. I think that I'm kind of overreacting to the like, oh, come now, it's not a 5-star movie. I think that it's a little trite in its diagnosis of the problems with living in New York City.
I'd love to. Have we done overrated?
I think it has a couple of performances that aren't up to snuff.
Oh, we should do top 5 overrated. Yeah. For sure. And Tim, I'm going to tell you straight up, I was in the big city of Milwaukee last night, like I said, and I will tell you, I woke up in the middle of the night. There's like screeching tires. There's like all this noise. There's probably gunshots. All this stuff's happening. I look over. It's midnight. What are people doing up at that hour? I mean,
in Milwaukee, certainly. Like, it's sure they're doing Milwaukee after 10 p.m.
I pull the blinds. I'm like, what in the world? There's cars everywhere. It's midnight. And then I close the blinds, sound everywhere, whatever. It wasn't until 3:00 that things died down around there. I'm like, what kind of
I think people there's a lot of pent up. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio over the weekend, and last Saturday night it was hopping.
Yeah.
It was
nothing good happens after midnight. We know that. Yeah. Gosh, these kids out there just wild and crazy till 2:00 in the morning. Couldn't settle down.
No good.
I know.
Well, I wanted our audience to be the arbiter of who wins this. So whoever has seen the least amount of these loses.
Okay.
Because it's the most shameful.
Okay.
Right? Let's just play it that way.
Deal.
Has anybody? Tim, have you seen Gone with the Wind?
Well, yes.
No.
Tim, how about A Clockwork Orange?
Yes.
Okay, that's our number 4. Number 3 was Raging Bull from our audience. Very shameful.
I've seen that one.
I have seen that.
7 Samurai.
No.
And
I was a little shocked that neither one of you had a Japanese film on your list. You should both feel ashamed.
I should see 7 Samurai. I have not seen 7 Samurai.
You should for sure feel ashamed about that.
Okay. And then number 1, Lawrence of Arabia.
No.
So I'm in big trouble. I think Carrie and I think we've only seen one of those films.
Raging Bull.
Yeah, so I think Carrie and I are the most ashamed. And you've seen all 5?
I think we should say that you two are tied in terms of the films you've seen, but I think Carrie should lose because you at least had the presence of mind to put more of those films on your own list, Rob, so you know that you should feel ashamed.
There you go.
And Carrie needs to sort of be forced to feel
That's
ashamed.
a good point. Carrie has no, she doesn't
strategize.
She hasn't admitted.
I told you my strategy was again.
The first step is acknowledging.
People are like, "Hey, Care Bear, you seen The Matrix?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, I mean, almost every day. So that's what I went
the audience and I and Carrie have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of similar work to do in order to remove the guilt of shame, to wash it away. Our winner this week, or I guess loser, depending on how you look at it, was Hunter Allen, who had the Godfather trilogy, which I had earlier said too is like same thing as like I can't make it through it. But Hunter's not a fan of the genre, and it's so fucking long. Hunter says, but this is a shameful, huge omission. Farewell, My Concubine, which I'm not familiar with.
Excellent Chinese film.
Okay. The Human Condition.
I have not actually seen The Human Condition myself, and I keep trying to make that happen with a friend of mine, but it's 9 hours long.
And then a movie that came up a bit as well too is, and I don't know how to pronounce it, Naqoyqatsi.
Naqoyqatsi.
Yes.
You do not need to feel ashamed for not having seen Naqoyqatsi. It is a terrible movie that besmirches the Qatsi trilogy's name.
Oh, because there's other. Oh, this is why I'm confusing it.
There's Koyaanisqatsi and Powakatsi are the first 2 films in a trilogy. They're both very good. Naqoyqatsi is bad.
Okay. Well, Hunter, shoot us an email at contact@alternateending.com for details on how to claim your free movie rental. If you want to win a free Amazon movie like Hunter, be on the lookout for our top 5 posts. In closing, I want to thank everybody for listening. Head out to our Facebook page and like it. Twitter, where we're tweeting all the time. Instagram, where we're Instagramming. AlternateEnding.com, where we find all our movie reviews, podcasts, and more. YouTube and Facebook, where we find all our videos. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google. Leave us a review. And don't forget about Patreon. Next week, we're going to be going back to our Past the Popcorn, catching up on all the movies we've been watching over the last few weeks, and have a topic. So we will catch you then.